running back Kyron Williams moving on to the NFL, gained just over 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns out of the backfield last year. Is Chris Tyree going to be like 1A and basically he's the guy, or how do you see the distribution working?
I think we're going to see a three-headed monster this year. We're certainly going to see Chris Tyree and Logan Diggs, but I'm not going to be surprised if Audric Estime is not part of this equation at some point in time as well. And the thing, I think the thing that Notre Dame coaches love about it is they all bring very different skill sets to the table. And when you look at a guy like Chris Tyree, I mean, he's a home run hitter, Mark. I mean, he's the kind of young man that it doesn't matter where you are. We saw this against Syracuse in 2020. We saw it against Florida State. We saw it last year actually in the pass game. He had 250-plus-yard touchdowns in the pass game last year. The run game really never got going for Notre Dame. But he's just, I mean, he was a kid that 2 years in a row in high school was the fastest player in the country, or fastest track person in the country in the 55-meter indoor, not just for football players, but anybody. He twice won the fastest man competition at the opening when he was coming up as a prospect. So he's a home run hitter. So he's going to play. But I don't know if Chris is the kind of guy you're going to use, like, you know, Georgia used Nick Chubb as part of that two-headed monster back in 2017 with Sonny Michel. He's a guy that you're going to say, hey, look, we got to get him 10 to 15 touches a game and get him in space, and he can run the ball the inside zones. He can be effective on. He can be effective on the off tackle. But he's sort of the, you know, if I compare him to a back, he's the kind of guy that would have thrived under the old Mike Shanahan offense, you know, where it's like one cut and go. He's not going to juke a bunch of people. He's not like a Reggie Bush type of athlete. He is a patient, plant and go. And then you see that crease and it's gone. Logan Diggs, on the other hand, is a lot bigger. He's 6 foot. He's about 200 pounds, but he's really shifty. You know, he's kind of got that elusiveness, that make you miss ability, which is kind of interesting. You'd think it'd be Chris Tyree that would be that guy, but Logan Diggs is that guy. And at times last year, he got a little bit too cute with the ball, but you almost kind of understand it with how bad the offensive line was. They were so used to kind of having to make people miss in the backfield that they just, even when they weren't getting penetration, they were kind of reacting like they were. You know, but he brings an element where he can put his shoulder down, but he can also make people miss. He can make plays out of the pass game. And then Audric Estime is also a rising sophomore. I mean, he's 6 foot, 230 pounds. I mean, he's just a big, ripped, chiseled kid. And if you go back and watch him as a senior in high school, when he averaged about 10 yards a carry in New Jersey, when he won the Gatorade Player of the Year there, and then when you watch him just the one game he got carries this year against Navy, I believe it was Navy, he's got great feet for a big kid, which, you know, of course, that what guy is going to that remind Notre Dame fans of? 230 plus, great feet, right? Okay, so you automatically get the Jerome Bettis, you know, comparisons, but you know, he's a guy that's going to push to be a part of that rotation too. And you know, he brings some of the hammer to the table, but he's not just a hammer. And I think, you know, Dylan McCullough's got to think like, who blessed me, you know, that I get to not only go to Notre Dame, but I'm walking into this situation. And there's a lot of talent there. But, of course, at the end of the day, it won't matter if the offensive line doesn't get better.